Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, and I am coming to you live from Warren Field in Brookline, Massachusetts. Here to bring you live coverage of today's high school varsity baseball contest between the visiting Lions of Newton South High School and the hosting Brookline High Warriors. Well, it's a special day for Brookline, their home opener of 2025, first game here at Warren Field, and it's a special day for me on this broadcast because I am not alone on this broadcast today. For the second game in a row, we had Nico Wise join us on Wednesday, and today, making his spring 2025 broadcasting debut alongside me is Brookline High freshman Sam Lowenstein. Sam, welcome back.
Thanks for having me on. It's the first time in a while we're getting to do a stream together. Jesse and Brookline getting off to a solid 1-1 start. Nico Rabiner pitching 4 shutout innings in the last game. Ben Cody also playing very well. And I think this is going to be a tough test against Newton South, a very formidable squad. I think the Warriors can get the win today.
And like you said, Brookline has had their ups and their downs so far this season. You mentioned the great pitching performance from the combined efforts of Nico Rabiner and Ben Cody in the season opener on Monday for a 5-1 win over Waltham. Unfortunately for Brookline, that pitching momentum not able to carry over to the last game on Wednesday as they lost 12-6 to Natick as the offense kept up its end of the bargain, but the defense kind of faltered down the stretch. Newton South coming in with a 1-0 record following a 4-1 season opening win against Newton North in a crosstown rival game. So you know they're riding high coming into this one. These two teams faced off in the season opener last year. Brookline getting a narrow 3-1 win over Newton South, despite the Lions pitchers holding Brookline to just one base hit in that game. Brookline also got 12 walks in that game, and the one hit they had was a 2-run single by Felix Hom that gave Brookline the 3-1 victory. So a very interesting matchup coming into today. And of course, at this time, we want to thank our sponsor for today, Esch Dental, located right in Coolidge Corner. Book your next dental appointment with local dentist and BHS Sports parent Dr. Brandon Esch for the non-corporate personalized dentistry our community deserves. Call 617-566-0103 or go online to eschdental.com to find out more and book your appointment. Once again, 617-566-0103 or go online to eashdental.com. All that information you can find in the description section down below. But now the Warriors taken to the field for the top of the first inning and taking the mound for Brookline today, co-captain number 9, Elias Brendel. We've got Brendel's stats from last year up on the screen. Brendel primarily a closer for Brookline last year as he made 10 pitching appearances but just one start. Had a 2-2 win-loss record, got 2 saves, the only Brookline pitcher to get any saves. Pitched a total of 19 1/3 innings over those 10 appearances, so almost 2 innings per outing. Had an ERA of 3.26, a WHIP of 2.02, and 22 strikeouts. He'll be going up against the Newton South batting order. I'm going to try and read through it real fast before we start the top of the first here. We've only got last names for Newton South, but we'll work with what we have. Leading off for the Lions today, the shortstop number 2, Feldman. Batting second, the catcher number 7, Harild. Batting third, the pitcher number 9, Whitaker. Batting cleanup, the first baseman number 4, Rivers. Batting fifth, the DH number 5, O'Toole. Batting sixth, the center fielder number 22, Everett. Batting seventh, the second baseman number 44, Schwager. Batting eighth, the right fielder number 11, Foreign. Batting ninth, the left fielder number 33, Edmondson. And just playing the field, the third baseman, number 10, Chow. That's the starting lineup for today. We're getting started a little bit earlier than was initially expected. This game was initially listed as 4:30, got switched to 4 p.m., and I didn't realize until today about that switch. So some people might be a little late to join this stream, but if you're watching this stream and you know people who want to tune in, be sure to send them that stream link so they can join us here today. Because, like we said, Sam, this is going to be a fun one.
Well, most definitely, Jesse. It's going to be an exciting game for the Brookline Warriors. The big key for Brookline, it's going to be the pitching of Elias Brendel. He's going to have to shut down Newton South today if Brookline wants to get a win. As you said, Jesse, their hitting output was good throughout the first 2 games, but it's the pitching that's been a little bit more inconsistent.
Absolutely. We'll see how he handles the top of the order here in the top of the first. Like we said, Brendel, a closing specialist. Can he perhaps show some promise as a starter this year in a bigger role as the senior co-captain? First pitch of the game. And it comes in high for ball 1 to the shortstop, number 2, Feldman.
Down from Elias Brendel, just a bit above the zone, about at the letters.
This one also high, ball 2.
And Jesse, that one appeared to be a little bit more inside. Brendel looking to work him up and in to start the game.
An early 2-0 count here to the Newton South leadoff hitter. And that one gets into the zone, lowers it just enough to get strike 1.
And there, it looked like he went to the bottom of the zone. Maybe the umpire making different calls in that quadrant, but regardless, a good strike from Brendel.
That one comes in high. Brendel seems to be focusing a bit on those high pitches, working the fastball last couple of pitches, and that one just rose away from him.
Well, he hasn't gone to any breaking balls yet here. 3-1 a hitter's count. Let's see if he goes to something off speed.
Takes a beat off the rubber.
Here, Brendel had to get set.
And no, that one gets away from him too. That one actually looked a little bit like it was off speed, but the off speed pitches seem to be hanging high on him to start here, Sam.
Well, it seems, Jesse, that all of his high pitches so far that he's attempted, every single one has gone for a ball. It looks like he's been having a little bit of trail on his pitches that have caused them to rise.
Leadoff walk for Feldman, now batting the catcher, number 7, Harild. That one curves to the outside. He was able to get it lower, and if that hadn't kind of curved away, would have been in the zone, but still ball 1.
That one almost looked like a slider, just darted away. A good pitch, but taken for a ball.
That one in the zone. It worked him up and in like you were talking about, Sam, but that time he punches the corner with the fastball there for strike 1.
And the key for Brendel to getting those high strikes is to aim a little bit more down to hit the right spots.
That pitch misses outside, ball 2. He had trouble missing high the first batter. Now he's having a little bit of trouble missing to the outside.
And he's having a bit more success here in this at-bat. Not a big lead taken by Feldman on first.
This one sliced foul for strike 2. Brendel seems to be alternating outside and inside with his pitches so far.
Well, that one almost looked like a cut fastball on the inside part of the plate. He's had more success lower to the ground and inside.
2-2, the count to Harild. Feldman taking the lead off first. And hits a dribbler to first. Stabbed by Eli. Hoffman throws to second and misses. Tried to get the lead runner, and it backfires as the throw got caught up in the legs of Feldman as he was sliding into second, so no outs off the grounder to first.
Well, Feldman was going to get the lead runner out, as you just said, Jesse, potentially a double play ball as he stepped away from first base, getting the easy out.
Now with runners at first and second, Whitaker, the pitcher, lifts this one out to right field. And that's going to drop into foul territory as the right fielder, Devin Chin, was racing after it, could not get there in time. And it'll be an 0-1 count against the pitcher, number 9, Whitaker, as it's the two number 9 pitchers facing off against each other here.
Well, Devin Chin nearly got to it, but just a bit too far out of his reach. Elias Brendel having more success hitting the strike zone these last couple pitches.
Checks the runner at second. And that one gets away. Ricochets off the backstop. Hom thought about throwing but decides against it as both runners will advance on the wild pitch.
Well, as you said, Jesse, he's been missing high and he's been missing outside. That time he missed his outside.
Now that time he missed high.
High and outside.
1-1 the count to Whitaker. And that one misses high again. His fastball's just rising a little too much. 2-1 the count.
Well, it's been a while since he's gone to a low fastball. Really not what you think of for having success, but if it's a matter of throwing strikes, the only time a ball has been hit and played, Jesse, was a ground ball over the first. Brendel's been doing well with weak contact.
And again loses control and what the heck? That's
looked to be no strikes. Yeah, no strikes during that at bat.
Except for the foul ball, which clearly was a strike. So the man walks on
3 pitches?
I don't know. I'm going to be generous and say I lost count of the pitches. You know, maybe I missed a ball in there somewhere, or maybe the ump just messed up. I don't know. We're all human here. Any one of us could have made that mistake. Bases loaded with nobody out for the first baseman, number 4, Rivers. Brookline not, debating that call, so it must have been correct. And again, Brendel having trouble with those high balls as that's ball 1 to Rivers.
That time he went with the high and inside stuff. He has had more success working the inside part of the plate than the outside. When he tried to go to the outside, he's been pulling the ball a bit too much, and that's what's been creating some of the wild pitches.
And now a meeting at the mound with head coach Brendan O'Connor as well as his catcher Felix Hom. And Elias Brendel, a guy who was, known last year for being able to come in and display his control right from the jump, even when being brought in tight situations late in games. And here, starting from 0 as a starter, he's having a little bit of trouble with his control. Maybe it's just start of the season jitters for him or something, but not what we're used to seeing from him.
Most definitely, Jesse.
1-0 the count to Rivers. And that one, another high ball. That's ball 2.
He still has been avoiding the low fastballs. And again, most pitching coaches say don't throw the fastball low, but if it's going to take a low fastball and do some weak contact on the ground, that might be what Brendel has to do.
That one, I think, was also just above the zone, and I think that's a 3-0 count. And so just one ball away from Newton South getting on the board on a bases-loaded walk.
Well, a lot of these pitches that have been just above the zone, they've been very close.
That one does hit the zone. 3-1 the count, as Rivers obviously going to take that one, as he's still got a chance for a bases-loaded free pass if Brendel misses again here. And he gets the zone, and he slices it foul for strike 2. If Brendel can get out of this one with an out, that could be huge. Set Brookline up with a one-out situation, maybe get a strikeout to prevent the runners from moving.
Ideally a strikeout and then a double play. Unfortunate that Hoffman couldn't get the lead runner earlier in the inning.
Slices it again as he got jammed inside. That's going to go out of play for another foul ball. And Rivers still battling with a full count.
That one came over toward the parent section. Brendel's had some success on the inside part of the plate. That one low and inside. He's been able to jam the Newton South hitters.
And he gets him to foul it again. Brendel starting to consistently find the zone, but Rivers is consistently getting his bat on the ball, not giving Brendel any easy out.
Well, besides those pitches inside, Brendel hasn't been able to necessarily hit the corners. These still have been hittable pitches for the Lions.
Another foul ball. Boy, we're getting some intense action right from the jump here. Bases loaded, a full count and one foul ball after the next as the battle between Rivers and Brendel continues.
And it's tough for Elias Brendel here in the first inning. At first, struggling to hit the zone, and now this at bat to Rivers could be demoralizing.
Oh, missed it high and in, and Rivers wins the battle for the bases loaded walk as Newton South gets on the board first.
And that's what it takes. The Newton South Lions, no hits so far in the first inning, but a run on the board, no outs, and the bases loaded. They're in control.
First pitch there hits the zone for strike one as we got our first lefty hitter for the Lions, the designated hitter number 5, O'Toole.
Brendel able to paint the left side of the zone to the inside of O'Toole.
But hangs that one high for ball 1.
Well, Jesse, whether they've been breaking balls or fastballs, the breaking balls have been ending up higher than the fastballs, but consistently Brendel struggled with the high pitches to throw them for strikes.
And he sends that one a little lower, and it gets fouled off by O'Toole for strike 2.
Well, now a 1-2 count, a good count.
First pitcher's count he's had all inning.
He's had a lot of 3-2 counts, a ton of 3-1s. It's a big opportunity for Brendel. Let's hope get out of this jam.
And another one fouled off as we got another Lions batter battling at the plate and not giving Brendel an easy out.
Well, they've just done a great job to wait for their pitch, but every time Brendel hits the zone, it seems that pitches are getting fouled off, creating extra frustration for the Warriors.
Fools him with the breaking ball there, strike 3.
Well, there's the low pitch from Brendel. Strong breaking ball to Buckle O'Toole. And that's what Brendel needs to do. Find different parts of the zone. He's had much more success on those low pitches than up high.
Brendel finally gets the first out, and that one misses inside for ball 1 to the center fielder, number 22, Everett.
Well, that one a close breaking ball that just missed the zone. Brendel with the first out of the game.
And this one is launched deep out to left. Left fielder and center fielder on their horse. It goes to the wall. This might clear the bases. Or no, it doesn't. It's just going to be a very long single as Rivers, being very cautious at second. Only one run comes in off of that deep shot as they were all waiting to see if it dropped for a potential sac fly. Instead, an RBI single for Everett as Newton South goes up 2-0.
Well, Jesse, that might be one of the longest singles you're ever going to see in high school baseball. That one was shot deep to left center, almost got out of the park for a home run. But still the bases loaded for Newton South. They're applying the pressure, and sometimes, Jesse, that's what a team actually needs to keep the bases loaded. Keep getting on the pressure for the pitcher to create more runs.
This one is a pop-up on a check swing, and it's caught at third for out number 2. The third baseman, Armand Tandon, making the grab for the second out. First defensive play of his varsity career as he's starting at the hot corner today, his first start of the season. 2 down now for Newton South. Bases still juiced as up comes the right fielder, number 11, Foran.
Player on third taking a huge lead.
He's taking off because it was a wild pitch, and he's coming in to score. And a run comes in as Whitaker in to score on the wild pitch by Brendel. Rivers moves down to third, Everett up to second. And just one out away from the inning, and Brendel gives Newton South a freebie. This one's a hard grounder towards the left gap. Diving snag by Jimmy DiPaolo, but not enough time to get a throw down there, and it's an RBI infield single for Foran. And Newton South has put 4 on the board here in the first inning.
Well, a really nice sliding play from Jimmy DiPaolo. He's unable to gun it to first, but Whitaker for the Newton South Tigers, he was taking a lead about halfway to home plate, was perfectly ready, and then Brendel threw it outside. He was able to come home.
Yes, on the wild pitch, he did get a good jump on the ball as he was taking a fairly aggressive lead, and then the RBI infield single from Foran. A nice diving stab by Jimmy DiPaolo might have saved a second run from coming in if that had gotten to the outfield. Now, first pitch to left fielder number 33, Edmondson, is fouled off for strike 1. Runners at the corners now with 2 down. And so look out for the possibility of Foran taking second to take advantage of the fact he's got a teammate at third to occupy the defense's attention. There he goes, takes off. They're going to try for the play at second. Oh, they caught him! And the run will not come in as Felix Hom comes through with a clutch throwdown to end the inning.
A perfect throw from Felix Hom, gunning it to second. The tag is applied well in advance. And that's one of those plays, Jesse, that can switch the momentum of a game, give a team like Brookline the spark they need before going to the bottom of the first.
Well, it's a heck of a momentum establisher, getting 4 runs in the first inning, as Newton South just did. They go into the bottom half up 4. Meanwhile, like you said, a great throw from Felix Hom and Foran. You know, you talked about the jump that Whitaker got off of third. Foran was taking a really conservative lead off of first base. Didn't put himself in a great position to get a good jump on that pitch. I think he was just expecting to get down there uncontested, but Felix Hom decided to be aggressive, risk the potential run coming in from third if he hadn't caught Foran, and it pays off and he gets the out.
Well, Jesse, what I've observed throughout this game, with the exception of that lead that Whitaker is taking, a lot of the Newton South players, they've been taking awfully conservative leads coming from first base, and they've still been able to get stolen bases. It hasn't...
They had 0 stolen bases in that first inning.
Well, not necessarily stolen bases.
They scored on the wild pitch.
But they've still been able to get... What I mean is they've still been able to get from base to base on wild pitches uncontested, but that hasn't been a part of their game. They were still able to play good small ball even while being conservative, but it ended up coming to bite them in the end.
Now Brookline getting ready to take the plate, so let's look over the batting order for Brookline really quick before we start this new inning. Leading off for Brookline today, the second baseman, number 14, Hugh Bollinger. Batting second, the pitcher, number 9, Elias Brendel. Batting third, the shortstop, number 22, Jimmy DiPaolo. Batting cleanup, the catcher, number 8, Felix Hom. Batting fifth, the designated hitter, number 24, Lincoln Hafner. Batting sixth, the first baseman, number 18, Eli Hoffman. Batting seventh, the center fielder, number 15, Owen Hoffman. Batting eighth, the left fielder, number 6, Rasik Waikar. And batting ninth, the right fielder, number 5, Devin Chin. Just playing the field today, the third baseman, number 16, Armand Tandon. So it'll be Bollinger, Brendel, and DiPaolo starting things off against the Newton South pitcher Whitaker. And we'll see how Brookline is able to handle things at the plate. Like I said, last year they had to try and manufacture some runs off of a lack of hits. Just 1 hit they had in a 3-1 win over Newton South last year, but 12 walks. And, of course, Brookline had their trouble with walks as the pitching team in the top half of the first. We'll see how things go here in the bottom half, as leading off the second baseman, number 14, Hugh Bollinger. First pitch is in there for strike 1. You can see Bollinger's stats for the season so far on your screen. 1 for 7 with 1 walk, 2 stolen bases, and an RBI through the first 2 games. That one also catches the inside corner. Whitaker pitching efficiently so far.
Well, that pitch from Whitaker cut from beyond the inside part of the plate to tap the inside corner. Hugh Bollinger played on the varsity team last year as a freshman. He was called up mid-season.
He was called up at the start of the season. Yeah, he made his first start in the 3rd game of the season, which was their home opener last year against Framingham, which was his first game, and of course got the big walk-off single in that one. As he lifts one right at the shortstop, a jumping grab is made by Feldman for out number 1. Good contact, but a better catch.
That was really well hit by Bollinger. Turned on it. A strong line drive, but he couldn't get it beyond the shortstop.
Now with 1 out, up comes the pitcher, number 9, Elias Brendel. First pitch going to miss for ball 1. Brendel so far this season 0 for 4, but 4 walks and 2 runs scored, so a batting average of 0, but an on-base percentage of .500. Big swing and a miss there, strike 1, 1-1 now the count.
Well, in high school baseball, Jesse, when you really think about it, what matters is the on-base percentage. Unless a player has unreal power and can hit doubles and triples, a single isn't going to do that much difference than a walk. He's had a strong start to the year.
That one low for ball 2. 2-1 the count. As we see the reverse of a matchup that we had in the top of the first inning between the two pitchers wearing number 9 today. Whitaker drew a walk against Brendel, and Brendel fouls this one off for strike 2.
Whitaker, he's been working quickly. Elias Brendel worked pretty slowly in the top of the first. Whitaker really the opposite, and you've seen the success that Whitaker has had with this up-tempo strategy.
2-2 the count to Brendel. 1 out, base is empty here in the bottom of the first. That one catches the corner, and Brendel was waiting for the call. Now he takes off for first and gets thrown out as he goes down on strikes.
Well, a drop third strike there. A little breaking ball into the bottom half of the strike zone. It's Whitaker. He's been working efficiently to the bottom half of the zone. Brendel, at the beginning of the first, he tried to go working up high and struggled a lot.
Well, it just goes to show you as the first pitch comes to Jimmy DiPaolo and he tips that one for strike 1. It just goes to show how important control of your breaking balls is, because we saw so many of Brendel's breaking balls just hang badly and come in way high in the zone, no chance for a strike. And meanwhile, like you said, a lot of Whitaker's breaking balls so far dropping to the low corner but still staying in the zone. His control has been working really well for him as he hits the low inside corner again for strike 2 to DiPaolo.
Well, really what Whitaker's been able to do so well is he's been able to tunnel his pitches, hitting the inside corner as you just said, Jesse, but at the same time, he's able to get a lot of breaking balls down low, fooling the hitters.
Doesn't fool DiPaolo that time as he laces one through the left gap for a 2-out single. His 4th hit of the season so far, as I believe he leads all Brookline hitters in base hits to start this season.
Jimmy DiPaolo, he's done well with the hitting numbers. He also has a lot of power to hit doubles and triples for the Warriors, hitting at the 3 spot.
Now batting the catcher, number 8, Felix Hom. First pitch is low.
Would I bother you if I stood right there on that post?
Oh, no, you should be
That's
fine, man.
fine.
That first pitch missed for ball 1 to Hom. Oh. This pitch also going to miss for ball 2. Your elbow's actually getting in the shot and blocking the batter. Yeah, sorry, man. It's 2-0 the count to Hom. He's 1 for 6 at the plate so far this season with an RBI double against Waltham and 2 walks as well so far this season. Had a tough day at the plate, 0 for 4 on Wednesday as he skies this one on a hit and run. It's going deep out to right center. Center fielder tracking, couldn't catch it! Felix Hom taking off as DiPaolo will come in to score. And depending on how they score that play in the outfield, Felix Hom might have just hit his 2nd RBI double of the season.
Well, Felix Hom smoked that one out to the opposite field. The ball had a ton of hang on it, and the outfielder couldn't catch it. Luckily for Newton South, another player was right behind him, but Jimmy DiPaolo able to race into home and Hom into second to get the Warriors on the board.
It was very fortunate timing as as DePaulo had already made a break for second as if trying to steal, and that just happened to be the play where Hom managed to crush it. And now the catcher Hom will have a courtesy runner come in. Number 20, Connor Fitzgerald, running in his place, as now at the plate, the designated hitter, number 24, Lincoln Hafner. Hafner, a huge performer on Wednesday, going 2 for 3 with a double, a run scored, and 3 RBI in the loss to Natick in his varsity debut, as Whitaker takes a look over at Fitzgerald at second. He dives back safe. 0-1 currently the count to Hafner.
Well, really, Brookline, they haven't had the same fortunes on offense as Newton South have, but they've been still able to create a lot of attack in terms of big hits and strong base running through stolen bases, whereas Newton South, no stolen bases, as you said, Jesse.
Well, still no stolen bases from either team, technically, as DePaulo would have had a steal if Hom hadn't hit that ball. So both teams showing aggression on the base paths, like you've been saying, Sam. Just nothing has gone for a stolen base, so it makes you feel like there's been stolen bases.
Yeah.
They give you the impression of it.
Most definitely, but Brookline, as we saw with Jimmy DePaulo making that run, they've had to be more aggressive on the base paths than Newton South were.
Well, no more aggression, unfortunately, as Hafner goes down on 3 straight strikes, and that will end the inning. Brookline not going down without a fight, but they're going to need a lot more if they want to catch up. At the end of 1, our score, Newton South 4, Brookline 1. And, you know, it really is interesting just the difference that control makes, because, I mean, you look, you know, we talked about it, Sam, the troubles that Brendel had with his control. If you take away all those free passes that he was giving on walks and wild pitches, this would be a much more even game. Both teams got some good contact on the ball. Both teams the same number of base hits in that first inning, but the walks made such a big difference.
Most definitely, Jesse, and we really saw Elias Brendel settle down at the end of that first inning. Although Newton South was able to get some hits off of him at the end, as you said, they had the same amount of hits as the Warriors did, and I think Elias Brendel is going to really be able to command this second.
All right, we'll see how he bounces back after a tough first inning. It'll be the 9-1-2 hitters. Edmondson coming back to the plate to finish the plate appearance that he couldn't finish back in the first inning because the runner got caught stealing to end the inning. And so he'll lead us off before we cycle back around to Feldman and Harild. Got some notes in the live chat so far. One of our baseball grandmas, Mary Walker, saying, "Go Brookline," from Grandma in Groton, New York, also watching our Randy and Joy. And then our other student broadcaster, Nico Wise, tuning in the live chat, saying, "Go Warriors," with a saluting emoji. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast so far. Back at the plate for Newton South, left fielder number 33, Edmondson, as he takes a high ball one from Brendel. And boy, after how rough he had it in the high part of the zone, that's not the thing you want to see from the first pitch.
Definitely, but it seems that he's almost in a little bit of a habit of targeting the top of the zone and the outside, as he just missed there.
Yeah, those two areas have really been tough for him so far, the high and the outside part. I mean, it's tough because Brendel's a hard thrower. He throws with a lot of velocity, and velocity means more rise on the ball typically, or at least less dip on the ball, depending on, you know, how accurate to the physics you want to be. And that can result in a lot of high misses, as he catches the inside corner there with a nice breaking ball. And then, of course, he throws almost close to sidearm with his delivery, which can, you know, cause his outside pitches to curve the wrong way a little bit.
But really, simultaneously, it's caused inside pitches to be more controlled and efficient, as we just saw in those two pitches, getting a called strike and a swing and a miss.
Indeed, and that's now a 2-2 count. Swing and a miss. Brendel starts the second inning off right with his second K of the day so far to start things off with the first out.
And that time, Brendel went to the bottom of the zone after going to the inside part of the plate, the two areas that he's had the most success.
Absolutely. You just got to go to what works sometimes. as again he goes for the low breaking ball for the first strike to Feldman. His breaking balls seem to be working so much better for him this inning, at least to start.
And really, Jesse, as you said, the way he throws the ball, I mean, he's going to curve a little bit to the left. And that means that if he throws a pitch inside, it's going to dip into the zone.
Tried to dip that last one into the zone and just didn't dip enough, just high for ball one. This one skied deep out to right center. Outfielders on their horse and could not be hauled in by Chin as Feldman's going to try for three. And he's going to slide in safe with the triple to deep right field as Newton South continues to apply the offensive pressure.
When Devin Chin came over to get the ball, he just couldn't corral it. And then he hesitated for a second. That caused Feldman to get into third base. And just like that, all that momentum that Elias Brendel had to start the inning puts Newton South back on the front foot.
Now, first pitch is too high fastball to Harild. Newton South catcher, he had that dribbler to first base that turned into a throwing error on the attempted fielder's choice. All four infielders up on the edge of the infield grass with the runner at third and only one out, as if there's a grounder to the infield, they want to go to the plate to try and catch the runner if possible.
Well, Jesse, for Brendel, as he's in a high leverage situation, has been going more to the top of the zone.
And that time he manages to drop it inside the zone enough to induce a pop-up that is chased down by a backtracking Hugh Bollinger for out number two. And boy, whenever I see fielders start to pick up speed as a pop-up is dropping to the field, I get nervous because I'm like, oh man, that thing is heading for terminal velocity. That could drop outside of where you thought, you know, real quick if you're not careful, but well tracked by Bollinger there. First pitch to Whitaker, curves outside, ball one. So two down now, a big second out get that holds the runner, but still a runner at third. Brendel trying to escape with no runs allowed this time if he can. That one curves in nicely, that breaking ball more to the low inside quadrant like we've been saying, Sam, working so well for Brendel early in this game.
Well, it dipped back into the zone and seemed that on that first pitch he tried to target the middle, caused it to go outside.
And another one drops in the bucket for strike two. Elias Brendel one strike away from getting out of the second unscathed, but still one swing of the bat could turn into another run. That breaking ball hangs on him high for ball two.
That one seemed a bit high and just a little bit outside from Brendel, but he nearly nabbed the corner. Still a strong pitch.
And that time he went to the fastball, and again, it came in high on him, and now a full count to Whitaker.
And as you said in the first inning, Jesse, a matchup of the two pitchers. We have another pitcher matchup here between Whitaker and Brendel.
And Whitaker continuing to win that matchup as he draws his second walk of the game, as Brendel, despite getting ahead in that one, let it get away from him. And he's got to settle down fast and get back to throwing strikes, or this inning could get out of hand fast like it did in the first. Runners now at the corners with two down, as up comes the first baseman, number 4, Rivers. He drew the bases loaded walk that got Newton South their first run back in the first inning. First pitch catches the high outside corner, strike one, and keep an eye on Whitaker at first. You see him dancing a bit off the bag, but started to jump back towards first when Brendel made a sudden move to start his pitching motion. That's going to be a situation to keep an eye on here. This one sliced foul, and Brendel out in front in the count once again at 0-2, but still needs to finish if he wants to get out of this inning.
And Jesse, with two outs there, Whitaker started dashing over to second base before the ball went foul.
That one curves to the outside, ball 1. Both runners ready to run on contact with 2 outs in the inning. So far, no attempt to take second by Whitaker.
Another pretty big lead off of first.
Oh, they go for the pickoff at third. They got him. It's a pickle between the bags. They're chasing him back and forth. DePaulo now chasing him. They throw to the plate. He stumbles, and he's chased down by Brendel himself as they apply the tag, and more great defense on the base paths by Brookline to end the inning.
And that seemed a near impossible situation, Jesse, after the triple potentially by Feldman. And then Elias Brendel was able to induce the pop-up, and then that pickle from Brookline as they were able to apply the tag to the third base runner. Just an immaculate way to get out of the inning.
Absolutely. Certainly, like you said, so rare that you see so many runners getting thrown out on the base, particularly back-to-back innings where that's what ends it. But a nice move there, and it's important to remember because people all know about the threat of a left-handed pitcher's pickoff move at first base. What you got to remember, even though it's rarer to have that situation at third where you're taking a big lead like you might take off of first, is that a right-handed pitcher can have that same quick pickoff move at third. You know, they might not work on it as much because, again, it's a rarer situation, but that's still a very real threat, and that's what ended up being Feldman's downfall on the bases there. Moving into the bottom of the second, Newton South still leading 4-1. And coming up for Brookline will be their 6, 7, 8 hitters, Eli Hoffman, Owen Hoffman, and Rasik Waikar. Hoffman brothers batting back-to-back for the third straight game in the batting order, but this time they've reversed the position, as in past games it was Owen Hoffman in the 6th spot and Eli Hoffman in the 7th spot each of the past 2 games, but now they've swapped. Now Eli at 6 and Owen at 7, with Rasik Waikar set to make his first varsity career plate appearance after making some appearance as a courtesy runner in the Waltham game.
Well, here to start the bottom of the second inning, the Brookline Warriors getting 1 run in the first after a couple big hits. And for the most part, they were shut down because the pitcher Whitaker for Newton South, he hasn't had a walk problem, and that's been the big difference in this game. You see the score 4-1, Newton South on top. That's been because of the control issues that Brendel had in the first.
First pitch here, and Whitaker misses for ball 1 against the Brookline first baseman, number 18, Eli Hoffman.
The big key for the Warriors in this inning is going to be the work that counts and get enough runners on base, so then when Whitaker throws something over the plate and the Warriors are possibly able to get a hit to drive more than 1 run in.
Brief discussion between Whitaker and the home plate umpire. I'm not sure what that was. Maybe Whitaker didn't like the ball call there. It's a strange thing. Anyway, the younger Hoffman so far this season, 1 for 7 with a hit-by pitch and an RBI. As he smokes one, but right at the shortstop again. Brookline again for the second straight inning. They lead off with a well-hit liner, but right inside the zone for Feldman to make the catch.
We saw that happen with Hugh Bollinger. He smoked one a little bit more to the left than Hoffman's, but a similar situation, a well-hit ball caught by the shortstop.
Now batting the center fielder, number 15, Owen Hoffman, as he takes strike 1. And that's why it's so important to throw strikes. Even if the batter does get the bat on the ball, they might just hit it right at a fielder. It just gives you a better chance to get an out, as quickly Whitaker ahead in the count, 0-2 against the older Hoffman brother.
That one on a breaking ball just got Owen Hoffman a bit ahead.
That one just high, gutsy watch by Hoffman. The Brookline co-captain has been batting 2 for 6 with a walk, a hit by pitch, 2 runs scored, and 2 RBI so far. Chases that one low for strike 3. And that's one where you can tell that as soon as his bat was going around, he was thinking, why did I do that, as he went around for the 3rd strike.
Well, on that pitch, Owen Hoffman actually hit the ball, and it popped back into the catcher's glove. Just bad luck for the Warriors. As you said, he tried to check the swing and was unable to.
Rasik Waikar, first pitch he sees, skies it into shallow right. Could not be caught. Rasik Waikar gets the 2-out single for his first varsity career hit on his first varsity career plate appearance. And that we've seen a couple of those balls that go high into tough spots in the outfield that have then turned into base hits. That one, the most shallow one we've seen so far, but ends up, that was in a tough spot for the first baseman to make the catch. And so Waikar gets on base. Now up the right fielder, number 5, Devin Chin. Shows bunt, pulls back for a ball, attempted pickoff, and Waikar stumbles back to first base. Hope he's okay. Looks like he's all right.
Well, there Waikar dashing his way back into first base. He has immense speed on the base pass again. Played as a courtesy runner last year in the Waltham game.
Yes, back on Monday.
Back on Monday, excuse me, not last year.
This one low for ball 2, juggled a bit, but collected by Harild. Devin Chin was a guy who primarily performed as a courtesy runner last year, but now stepping up into the starting lineup, and so far this season batting 1 for 6 with a walk and a run scored, but he is a speedster, so if he can get on base, Brookline could have 2 fast runners. As that's a low ball 3, Devin Chin might have thrown Whitaker out of his rhythm by showing bunt that first time, and since then, Whitaker's just missing everything low so far.
Well, on that hit by Waikar, it ended up in a difficult spot near the trees. Tough for the first baseman.
That one just barely catches the low corner for strike 1, as Whitaker able to get just enough rise on that ball to keep from it being a 4-pitch walk. 3-1, the count to Chin. Waikar takes off, and it's a low ball 4, so no stolen base for Waikar, but a free pass down to first for Devin Chin, as Brookline now has 2 speedy runners on the base paths as they cycle back to the top of the order with the second baseman, number 14, Hugh Bollinger.
Well, we talked about this, Jesse, at the beginning of the inning, the importance of getting multiple runners on for the Brookline Warriors to apply some more pressure on Whitaker.
Bollinger hits a dribbler, fielded at second, thrown to first, and that will end the inning. So Brookline does get a couple runners on, but they end up stranding them as we end the second with the same score as the first. Newton South 4, Brookline 1.
Well, Newton South and Whitaker able to shut down the Warriors in the second inning after Whitaker gave up a run in the first. Both teams going scoreless there in the second.
And during this break between the second and third inning, I'd like to once again thank our sponsor for this game, Esch Dental. Do you have a tooth that just doesn't look right in photos, too far out, too far back, or maybe one that prevents you from showing that smile at all? The team at Esch Dental has everything you need to get that smile perfectly aligned. Their average Invisalign case lasts about 9 months, and the treatment is practically invisible compared to metal braces. Adults and teens alike get their teeth straightened and their bites aligned with Esch Dental. Call 617-566-0103 or go online to eschdental.com to find out more and book that appointment. Once again, 617-566-0103 or go online to easchdental.com. Moving to the top of the third, and once again, the batter who ended the inning will also start the inning after another play on the bases ended the inning for the Brookline defense. So it'll be Rivers leading off, followed by O'Toole and Everett. And, Sam, because I'm a numbers dork, I love seeing silly stuff like this, that Newton South has the player wearing number 4, batting number 4 in the order, and they have the player wearing number 5, batting number 5 in the order. I'm just a dork like that.
Maybe it's intentional. I always wonder that kind of stuff.
Well, it was originally. That's how the original jersey numbers worked in MLB. The very first jersey numbers were to signal the spot in the batting order, as that's going to be strike 1 to Rivers. As I think the first team to the first year they did it, I know the reason people know that is because Babe Ruth famously wore number 3 with the Yankees, and that was because he batted 3rd in the order.
And also, you think we see in soccer that the number 10, they have a specific role. Number 9 is a specific role. Really not quite the same for the other sports, but maybe it is intentional, at least to an extent.
Yeah, it might just be a cosmic coincidence, but there are definitely points in history throughout different sports of those kinds of rules applying, and that's actually still a rule in rugby, that they actually assign the jersey numbers on the day of the game, depending on what position the player is assigned. 1-2, the count to Rivers, as he gets weak contact there, but it bounces right into the gap, chased down by DePaulo. Long throw is not going to be in time, as that throw might have pulled Hoffman off the bag, but it was going to be a really tough get at first. My guess is they'll rule it an infield single. That's one I'll double check on Game Changer later tonight, but for now, Rivers with an infield hit.
DePaulo's throw just a bit to the left of Eli Hoffman, almost still got him, and Hoffman was nearly able to drag his right foot onto the bag, but he was unable to.
Yes, Hoffman would have really had to stretch out his left foot while catching that with his right-handed glove if he was going to make that play. And, you know, when you get a ball that deep onto the left side of the infield, it's such a task. So even if the throw is a little wide, I wouldn't give an error to Jimmy DePaulo on that throw, because I think it would have been a tough make, as that's going to be a high fastball for ball 1 to the designated hitter number 5, O'Toole.
Well, Elias Brendel really settling in after that tough first inning, didn't give up a run in the last inning, only 1 hit.
This one's a dribbler to first. Hoffman fields it, trying to go for second again, and this time gets him. Managed to correct his throw a little higher to at least get the lead runner on the fielder's choice. Gutsy decision for the younger Hoffman brother there to go for the same play that he attempted in the first inning that backfired so horribly.
Well, that play almost nearly was off the bag. Hoffman electing to make sure that the lead runner gets out rather than taking the easy out at first.
First pitch curves out of the plate. Hom juggled it for a second, but the runner was already on his way back to first. At the plate now, the center fielder, number 22, Everett. Everett got that deep shot to left center, which turned into a very long RBI single his last time up. That one in the zone for strike 1. So we know Everett's got some pop in his bat. We know he can potentially be dangerous here. Newton South with a runner at first and 1 out, leading by 3.
And there Everett taking a second before the at-bat.
That one hangs on him again, ball 2.
There, Elias Brendel, he's really improved his control as the game has gone on. Still struggling a bit with the pitches above the zone, but really hasn't hindered him all that much.
This one fouled off for strike 2, and like you said, Sam, you know, he still has, Brendel still has some pitches where he loses control and misses, but he always seems to bounce back now these last couple innings and get back in the zone for a strike.
And Jesse, those pitches that he's been losing control of, he's had less of the wild pitches. It's just been a little bit above the zone, a little bit outside. It hasn't really been catastrophic at all for Brookline.
Runner taking off for second. It's a high ball, and it's too high for Hom to get a proper grip on the exchange. And so that'll be ball 3 and a successful steal for O'Toole. And
that's the first stolen base of the game.
That's right. All the aggressive running we've seen at different points throughout the game, but that is the first one that actually goes for a successful stolen base. That's going to be a high ball 4, and boy, I think we might have jinxed it a bit there, Sam. We just talked about how Brendel was starting to get things under control and then gives up the walk there to Everett. Runners at first and second, still 1 out. So honestly, that walk a little bit beneficial potentially for Brookline as it creates a double play situation here with 2 outs, as up to the plate comes the second baseman, number 44, Schwager. First pitch is going to dip outside the zone for ball 1. Schwager, his last time up, popped out to third. That one high, and boy, Sam, you talked about how Brendel's misses the past couple innings were closer misses than what he was struggling with in the first inning, but his pitches are starting to get wild on him again here these past couple of batters.
And you got to wonder, Jesse, whether that stolen base might have rattled Brendel a little bit, making him a bit more erratic.
That one also misses high. And you know, it is important to note that every pitcher has a different delivery depending on whether they have runners on base or not. And so, you know, maybe Brendel's shortening up his delivery to account for the runners on base, and that's throwing him off. I don't know, but it's been tough. And that one's going to miss, and it's a 4-pitch walk to Schwager as Newton South, off back-to-back free passes, they load the bases with 1 out. As up comes the right fielder, number 11, Foran, and now Coach O'Connor coming out to talk to Brendel, and this might be the end of the day for him. I think it will be. We see a new pitcher coming out to the mound, and so Brendel lasts 2 1/3 innings in this start, gives up at least 4 runs, but leaves 3 inherited runners that would be credited to him if they were to come in to score. They're going to send him out to right field in place of Devin Chin. And coming onto the mound in relief of Brendel will be number 10, Ben Cody. Cody, we mentioned the relief appearance against Waltham on Monday. Pitched 3 innings, gave up 1 unearned run to get his first varsity career save, as you do get a save if you pitch 3 innings as a reliever, 3 innings or more, after coming in with the lead and finishing the game. Just 1 strikeout and a whip of 2. But we'll see what Cody is able to do here in a tight spot. Definitely a much tighter spot than he was in on Monday, because he just came in at the start of the inning when he came in for Rabiner with his team firmly in the lead. Now his team trailing and coming in with bases loaded situation.
Definitely, Jesse, a much different situation for Ben Cody here, but he had a lot of success last season, being one of the best starting pitchers
in the summer. He had a lot of success, not last spring.
In
the summer, he had a strong performance in the Lou Tompkins League. No starts last spring, but here he is trying to make a relief effort here as breaking ball dips low for ball 1 to the right fielder, number 11, Foran, who got the infield RBI single in the first inning before being caught trying to steal second. Chases that low dipping breaking ball there for strike 1.
Well, Ben Cody looking to, as you said, carry on that success from the Lou Tompkins League in the summer. He had a good first game.
And that one You know, Ben Cody is a strange pitcher in that he throws mostly breaking balls compared to most pitchers throwing most fastballs, and he's able to mix up the placement good as he induces a foul ball there. As you see, the variation of location drops down at the ankles the first couple of pitches, then one right at the knees to catch the low corner, and then one that comes in high and drops down into the letters. He is mixing up his placement well.
And the fact that he has mostly breaking balls really messes up the timing of the hitters.
Doesn't mess up that timing as it's launched out to left center. But Owen Hoffman chases it down for the catch. The runners tag and head to the plate as now a run will come in on what was essentially a very long sac fly, but a great catch out in left center field by Owen Hoffman to hold it to just one run coming in.
Man, Jesse, that's just an incredible play by Owen Hoffman, running all the way the left center to get it and still make the throw in to only give up one run for the Warriors.
So in to score was O'Toole. Everett goes down to third. Schwager was held at second. Now at the plate, the left fielder, number 33, Edmondson.
Their Ben Cody, Jesse's not the biggest strikeout guy, but still has had a lot of success recently.
And he gets strike one there. And, you know, we mentioned Cody goes heavy on the breaking balls rather than the fastballs. With his lack of speed, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Schwager take off for second. Hits that one foul as he was way out in front of that pitch, kind of hit it off the end of the bat. You could hear it just didn't sound right coming off his bat as he's now down 0-2 in the count.
Hit it out in front, but for Newton South, they've had really not that many, but a couple balls that have been able to squirt their way through the infield.
That one lifted, and again, he's out in front of it as he fouls it down the left field side. Count remains 0-2.
Well, that's the thing with the slower velocity of Ben Cody, the hitters getting early on the pitches rather than behind them.
It's a big contrast with the hard-throwing Brendel that started the game for Brookline. Oh, and two down, runners at the corners. Schwager takes off, but that's in there for strike three, and that will end the inning. So despite the tough situation, just one run comes in for Newton South. Ben Cody able to come in and allow just one inherited runner to score. That run will be credited to Elias Brendel as he goes down with 5 runs allowed through 2 1/3. He is currently the pitcher on credit for the loss if Brookline cannot come back and at least tie this one up. And now we move to the bottom of the third. Newton South having slightly extended their lead 5-1, as it'll be the 2-3-4 hitters for Brookline. Brendel now out in right field, followed by DePaulo and Hom.
Jimmy DePaulo got a hit earlier in the game.
DePaulo and Hom back to back.
DePaulo and Hom both getting hits for the Brookline Warriors. They've been some of the biggest made some of the biggest offensive outputs for Brookline this game, where mostly the Warriors have been shut down throughout the first 2 innings. They haven't as many base runners as Newton South. But last inning, they were able to get 2 runners back to back, 2 speedy runners, more importantly, but
yeah,
no runs came in.
That's a very good point, Sam. Brookline has gotten 2 runners on base back-to-back in each of the first 2 innings, but both times that came with 2 outs. You know, it goes to show that it's not just how much pressure you can apply, but sometimes it's when you can apply that pressure. If you get 2 runners on base with no outs, it's very different, because then all you got to do is put the ball in play, maybe lay down a sacrifice, and you can still move the runners and be productive and apply that pressure. But when there's 2 outs and you get 2 runners on, all you can do is try and swing away and drive them in because that's the only option you have.
Most definitely, and that's been one of the big differences between Brookline and Newton South in this game, is since the Lions have been able to get more base runners on early in innings, especially that first, they've been able to get more runs.
Leading off for Brookline here, the right fielder, number 9, Elias Brendel, as he takes strike one. Brendel, his first time up, went down on strikes.
Just a little breaking ball in there to get Brendel coming from the right to the left.
That one is going to miss for ball one.
That one from Whitaker, a bit up and in, and he's been pitching with a similar angle in a way to Brendel, not as much of a sidearm angle, but he still has that right to left movement on a lot of his pitches, but he's been able to locate it better than Brendel was.
My apologies, folks. We're having a little bit of trouble with Sam's mic for a sec here. As that one misses for a ball. Sam, just keep talking. Just keep making your points. I'll keep trying to fix the microphone here for you.
They're on the 1-1 pitch.
That was the 3-1. That's my fault. I was messing around with the microphone.
The 1-1, the 3-1 there, and now it's ball 4 to the hitter number 9, Elias Brendel for Brookline, and now Jimmy DiPaolo at the plate.
So make it. And Brendel taking off for the steal, and he gets down to second, so he draws his team-leading 5th walk of the year, and then steals second. I'm still kind of messing around with Sam's mic at the moment. Trying to get it working again, so I'm not sure if that was a strike or a ball.
Looked to be a ball to me.
Okay. Want to know the count? I think I got you fixed now, Sam. Can you say something for me? Oh, dang it. Keep talking.
So Brookline here, a 1-0 count for the Warriors. Jimmy DiPaolo, good power hitter for Brookline. He also has speed. The 1-0 pitch inside. DiPaolo shied away from the ball there. As it's 2-0 and it looks
Oh, no, it hit him. That pitch hits DiPaolo, and he gets the free pass down to first on the hit by pitch.
Favorable situation. That's what we've been talking about, Jesse. The importance of getting base runners on, pitcher control.
That first pitch in for strike one to Hom. 2 runners on.
Also with a hit in this game for the Warriors.
As he fouls that one off, strike 2. 0-2 the count to Hom with Brendel at second, DiPaolo at first.
Well, 2 pitches at the bottom of the zone coming from Whitaker to Felix Hom. Whitaker focusing on really merely throwing strikes after the hit by pitch in this inning.
That one inside ball 1, and it's been a tough start to the inning control-wise for Whitaker, allowing the walk and then the hit by pitch. Now he's trying to get out in front of this against Hom, currently a 1-2 count. But that one drops low, 2-2. And again, like we were talking about, when you apply a pressure in the inning makes a difference. Brookline now with 2 base runners back-to-back for the 3rd inning in a row, but this time with no outs instead of with 2.
Well, in these last 2 innings, Whitaker has had control problems. He allowed 2 base runners on free passes in the second.
Ooh, that one in there for strike 3 as Hom goes down on strikes. And remember, one of those base runners last inning was actually on the bloop single by Rasik Waikar, and the other was on a free pass to Chin. But now, here in the bottom of the 3rd, 1 down with runners still at first and second, up comes designated hitter number 24, Lincoln Hafner. Hafner was a big producer for Brookline on Wednesday. As that one drops low, a pickoff throw. First baseman was not ready for it, and DePaulo scrambles and dives back to the bag.
DePaulo was able to sneak his way in behind the first baseman. A lucky play for Brookline.
Yeah, lucky that the first baseman's playing in, as Hafner fouls that one off for strike one. Might be playing that way. You know what it is? They're anticipating a potential sacrifice bunt, because you got 2 runners on. A sac bunt would put 2 runners in scoring position. Oh, wait, is that 0-2, not 1-1? I might have misunderstood the count. Whitaker hanging on his leg there for a second as that's fouled off by Hafner. Brando was taking off for a potential hit-and-run play. I believe the count is 0-2 to Hafner. It might be 1-2, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure they pulled back the first baseman there, because now you're not going to bunt with 2 strikes, because a foul bunt would be a strikeout. That one high for a ball.
Well, Jesse, both of these teams, their pitchers have not been getting it calls at the top of the zone.
Gets the call there, though. Back-to-back strikeouts for Whitaker. A huge performance as he is on the verge of getting out of this jam by putting down the heart of Brookline's order on strikes. Now the last chance for Brookline is the first baseman, number 18, Eli Hoffman. First pitch misses outside, 1-0.
Just a bit outside there, a close pitch from Whitaker.
Hoffman, his last time up, lined out to short. So that one drops low, so if he can get good contact again, but in a better place, might be able to do some damage. But Brookline now running out of chances to try and make something of this inning. They got off to a good start, but since then, nothing doing, and no balls in play so far this inning. A walk, a hit by pitch, and 2 strikeouts.
That was a similar story to in the second, when Brookline got 2 on but could not finish the job to drive in any runs.
That one catches the outside corner, strike 1. Eli Hoffman trying to make it so that they don't end up like the second inning. See if they can continue the rally here in the third. Counts currently 2-1.
And Whitaker's done a great job with damage control in these high leverage situations for Newton South.
Hoffman fouls that one off the backstop. 2-2 now the count.
Almost looked like a cut fastball in there from Whitaker. It's that cut inside of the inside part of the plate.
2-2 the count, 2 outs, 2 men on. And Hoffman, with the defensive swing, manages to get a piece of it. Got fooled on the breaking ball, but got just enough of it to stay alive.
Hoffman got early on that one, tapped it into the opposing team's dugout.
And now meeting at the mound between Whitaker and Harild to plan out their next pitch as they're trying to finish the job and get out of the third inning here. 5-1, still the score in favor of Newton South. Catches the inside corner for strike 3. 3 straight Ks from Whitaker to end the Brookline threat in the third inning, and at the end of 3, our score, Newton South 5, Brookline 1.
And more specifically, Jesse, 3 straight looking strikeouts from Whitaker to get the Warriors. Really a very similar story to in the second inning for Brookline. They got 2 runners on via walks, and then one
walk, one hit.
1 walk, 1 hit. But regardless, two base runners before Whitaker was able to wiggle out of the jam. And then Brookline getting 2 base runners with no hits in the third inning before being shut down in both.
Yeah. But the big difference, of course, with that third inning is that Brookline got those 2 runners on with no outs, as opposed to the first 2 innings when they got 2 runners on with 2 outs. But then still, like you said, Whitaker able to settle in and take care of the job. So at the end of 3, Newton South still in lead 5-1 during this break between the 3rd and 4th innings. I'd like to take a moment for our local charity spotlight. I'd like to tell you about the Brookline Education Foundation. The Brookline Education Foundation raises funds to help promote growth and innovation among Brookline educators, growth that can then be passed on to the children of this community. For over 40 years, this foundation has given out a variety of grants across the educational landscape. These include Idea Lab grants for teachers that want to present their students with new and exciting projects, and teacher grants for educators that want to further develop their own skills to bring to the classroom. Many initiatives which have become staples in the public schools of Brookline started as BEF grants. They support literacy education training, new methods in STEM education, project-based learning, mentoring of new principals and superintendents, and collaborative work around diversity, equity, and inclusion, just to name a few. Visit brooklinefoundation.org or call 617-232-3846 to find out how you can help support our town's educators and, through them, our students. First pitch of the inning is a bouncer over to Tandone at third, throws to first, and a nice one-pitch out, and that's got to feel good for Cody and company as they get Feldman to ground out to start the inning.
And Ben Cody is still not allowed an earned run this season so far.
That's true. That's true. 1 unearned run against Waltham. 1 run not credited to him, but an inherited runner last inning. And so far, no earned runs to his name so far this season as he gets strike 1 to Harild there. That one drops low for ball 1. Harild so far today, he has reached on that fielder's choice error and popped out to second. So 0 for 2 so far as that one curves into the zone. Man, sometimes those pitches from Cody, they have like this rainbow arc to them, the way he curves them.
And we've talked about how his pitches, they just look so different than anybody else that you're going to face in high school baseball.
And even his fastball looks a little different as that one looked, that was one of his faster pitches, but still broke just a bit as he gets Harild on strikes. 2 quick outs for Ben Cody. Whitaker hits the first pitch over to third, fielded by Tandone, juggled a bit, long throw, beats him there. Ben Cody puts the Newton South hitters down in order most efficiently. And you know what? In a game that's been such a struggle for the Warriors to start, having a nice, quick defensive inning like that's got to feel good.
Most definitely, Jesse. And Ben Cody, just perfect efficiency from him. Again, he's not a huge strikeout pitcher, but he's able to induce weak contact on a lot of those breaking balls, getting the hitters to swing early, and then he has the fastball, which is more of a strikeout pitch, but even then, even though he's getting the hitters to be behind on a lot of those pitches, still has movement, weak contact abilities.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a very good observation, Sam, because like you said, the hitters are getting out ahead of those pitches because they're all righties, most of them are, and so that's why all those ground balls are going down to third base because they're pulling them because they're so far out in front of them. So you're absolutely on the numbers there, Sam.
And Cody, great at having hitters miss barrels, even if they're not necessarily striking out, and that's what the Warriors have needed, and he really picked that up in the summer, as you said. Summer, I remember we were together on a stream where Ben Cody had a great performance.
Absolutely.
On the mound.
Yes. Couple more notes in the live chat from Cheryl Bollinger letting us know the Bollingers are front and center watching this one. Go Warriors. And then T.E. Bray saying, great grandpa watching from Milwaukee. So some more baseball families tuning in. We love to see it. Hope you guys are enjoying the broadcast so far. You know, it's been a rough start scoreboard-wise for Brookline, but, you know, for us, it's a beautiful day at the park. You know, had a couple brief technical snafus with the mic, but they seem to be fixed so far. Fingers crossed it stays that way. All in all, just pretty solid day, I would say.
And also Brookline, they're starting to turn the tides just a little bit. I definitely think they still have a chance to come back in this game if they can keep getting base runners on to start the innings and then play well with runners in scoring position. They got a real shot.
Leading off for Brookline, the center fielder, number 15, Owen Hoffman, as he takes strike one. Hoffman, his last time up, went down on strikes back in the second inning, trying to see if he can get things started right here in the fourth. As he smartly watches that pitch, you could tell he was thinking about swinging. He was looking for that break, but it did not break, and he held for ball one.
Or rather, the break came a bit too late and it still didn't pop back into the zone.
That's true. That's true. It did dip just a bit after it crossed past his shoulder. But the next pitch hits the zone, strike two, 1-2, the count to Hoffman. That one got way away from him, and he's lucky that pitch wasn't thrown with runners on base as it gets past his catcher. He's trying to blow the heater past Hoffman there, but ended up flying over everyone's head. 2-2 the count. And Hoffman gets a piece of that one, fouls it to the backstop, and stays alive at 2-2.
Here the pitcher Whitaker, he's been working that outside part of the plate. He's missed on a couple, but he's been able to get strikes in that part.
That one misses high and in as he tried to mix it up. And now a full count. Hoffman battling here, trying to get on base. Whitaker trying to get that first out. And Hoffman fouls it off again.
Newton South playing their infield back, both the second baseman and the shortstop, just in front of the grass.
Yep, no runners on the bases, so no one to account for except for Hoffman himself. And Hoffman reaches out, hits it, goes off the glove of Whitaker, but he chases it down and flips it to first for out number one.
Brookline has had bad luck with a lot of these decently well-hit balls that they've had. That one right at the pitcher, Whitaker. He was able to throw it easily over to first.
Yeah, that one was tough. It looked like more of a defensive swing from Hoffman. He was really reaching out with it, just trying to get bat on ball at all, and did not work out for him. Now batting is the left fielder, number 6, Rasik Waikar, as he takes ball one there. Waikar, of course, got the bloop single to left his last time up. Swing and a miss there, strike one.
Waikar, bit behind on that. He had a bloop single just hitting to the grass earlier in the game for his first career varsity hit on his first career varsity pitch.
And now here, trailing in the count, 1-2. Skies this one that's going to go foul and out of play. Waikar stays alive at 1-2. And if nothing else, the bottom of the Brookline order fouling off some pitches, giving a fight, trying to get Whitaker's pitch count up. But Whitaker still delivering strong thus far as he's trying to get the second out here.
And the big thing for Whitaker is that his success has been measured on whether he throws strikes, and he throws one there.
And he gets strike three, another K for Whitaker as Waikar goes down on strikes. So now we're going to have a new batter at the plate for Brookline. The pitcher, number 10, Ben Cody, batting in place of Devin Chin, who is subbed out to keep Brendel in the game. First pitch to Cody, going to miss for ball one. Cody had just one plate appearance last spring, drawing a walk. We'll see what he's able to do here with 2 outs and the base is empty. That one's going to miss, ball 2.
Just a bit inside, and really besides those walks for Whitaker, he's been able to shut down the Warriors' offense. The first inning, Brookline got a couple hits off of him, but ever since.
Yeah, no, you're right. Just 3 hits allowed by Whitaker so far, 2 of them in the first inning. As he's trying to finish the 4th here, a 2-1 count to Cody. Swing and a miss there, strike 2.
And Cody just behind on that pitch. Whitaker aiming toward the bottom left quadrant of the zone.
And he's behind on the fastball again, strike 3. 2 strikeouts to end the game, and with 4 innings under his belt, Whitaker now officially the pitcher on record for the win if Newton South holds on to this lead, as the rule is stat keeping wise that in order to get a pitching win as a starter you have to pitch at least 4 innings. But powerful on the Ks for Whitaker so far. He had 2 this 4th inning, 3 in the 3rd, 1 in the 2nd, and 2 in the 1st. 8 strikeouts through 4 innings for Whitaker.
Whitaker, he's just been outright dominant in this performance. Brookline only 3 hits, as you said, Jesse, and they just haven't been able to take advantage of the small opportunities that they have had. Whitaker's been great in damage control, high leverage situations, and that really proves that he's a versatile player as well. He could probably come in as a reliever in addition to a starter for Newton South down the line. That's going to increase his stock in the team.
During this break between the 4th and 5th innings, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor for today, Esch Dental. Do you have a tooth that's been worked on once, twice, 3 times, and it's still giving you problems? Have you been told it's time to give up the fight on that tooth and have it extracted? Hey, it happens to a lot of us. Dr. Esch performs a multitude of procedures to get that infected tooth out and an implant in. All of Dr. Esch's implants are digitally guided, which means the surgery takes place on a digital model of your jaw even before your appointment. Digital implant placement is the safest, fastest, most predictable way to turn that problem tooth into a fixed and beautiful solution. Call 617-566-0103 or go online to eschdental.com to find out more and book that appointment. Once again, 617-566-0103 or go online to eashdental.com. That information in the description section down below.
I listened to you guys Wednesday. I was in New Jersey. Phenomenal. Great job, Nico. Thank you. You guys are doing a great job. Really appreciate it.
And first, and as we get ready to start the inning, I don't think the pitch was thrown. Someone from the crowd was asking me a question. Hope I didn't miss a pitch. But either way, this pitch to Rivers, he lifts it deep out to left on his horse. Waikar can't chase it down. Rivers leads off the top of the 5th for Newton South with a double to deep left.
Well, Newton South have had a couple hits that they've gotten that have almost gone out of the park entirely. 300-plus foot hits for the Lions. Waikar unable to make the catch, but he's still able to get it in and limit Rivers to a double.
Now batting is number 5, O'Toole. And he lifts one out to right, and that's foul.
Just a bit to the right of the foul line. O'Toole turning on that one.
Brookline's quite lucky on that one, as that could have potentially turned into extra bases. This could have very quickly gotten out of hand. That one skips in the dirt, gets away from Hom, and Rivers is going to take 3rd on the wild pitch. Fortunes starting to turn in the wrong direction for Brookline reliever Ben Cody. Gives up a deep shot to left, gives up one down the right field line that's just foul, and then a wild pitch. but induces a grounder here, blocks it himself, holds the runner at third, and throws to first for out number 1 as his fortunes, for the moment, turn right back the other way.
With a pitcher like Ben Cody, location's the most important thing. That time he was able to get the outside bottom part of the plate to get a rollover ground ball, but as we saw in the beginning of the inning, Cody was getting hit hard when his pitches fell to the middle of the plate.
This one a grounder over to third. Tandone covers, holds the runner at third again for another ground out. Armand Tandone doing a solid job at the hot corner in his first varsity appearance. And Brookline with 2 quick ground outs without allowing the runner to come home. Now batting the second baseman, number 44, Schwager, after that ground out by Everett, and he fouls that one off, strike 1. And yeah, when you're able to time up Cody's movement and get that barrel on ball, you can launch it, but a lot of these guys just slightly off and giving weak contact, like you were saying earlier, Sam.
Well, another example of that on this pitch, this time Schwager behind it instead of in front of the ball.
And this one he lifts over the shortstop, and that's going to be an RBI single for Schwager as he drives in Rivers for Newton South's 6th run.
He just looped that one right over the shortstop's head. Perfect placement from him, and that pitch still not necessarily barreled by Schwager, but he's just able to get out in front enough, but not too much to get it in the right spot.
That one catches the high corner for strike 1. Now at the plate is the right fielder, number 11, Foran. With a runner at first and 2 down, Newton South now leading 6-1 as Ben Cody allows his first earned run of this new season. Gets that pitch in the zone for strike 2, 0-2 the count. That one just misses low and away. Ball 1, you could see Hom trying to frame the pitch like it was in the zone, but no dice. But that one curves in the zone perfectly for strike 3. Cody finishes the inning, but Newton South does put another run on the board. Our score going into the bottom of the 5th, Newton South 6, Brookline 1.
That's just a great pitch from Ben Cody as he's able to paint the inside bottom corner. He's been loving that spot throughout the game and having a lot of success, mostly on weak contact coming off of the pitch, but that time he's able to get the strikeout.
We move to the bottom of the 5th, and it'll be interesting to see what Newton South decides to do here at the mound. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to Whitaker with how strong he's been going at the mound, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we see a new pitcher come in, and I think that's a new pitcher coming in because this is going to be the third. This would have been the 3rd trip through the batting order for Whitaker, and a lot of coaches like to limit it to just 2 trips through the order as we see a new pitcher, number 10, Chow, coming over from third base to take over for Whitaker. So Whitaker pitches 4 innings, qualifies for the pitching win if Newton South holds on to this lead. And Chow comes in as the reliever. Whitaker going to move over to second, Schwager to short. And I presume Feldman moves over to third.
Well, Whitaker throughout 4 innings only giving up 1 run, a dominant performance with a ton of strikeouts for him. So he was able to shut down the Brookline Warriors offense, even though he gave up a couple base runners in both the 2nd and the 3rd. He was able to give up nothing after that and exert great damage control.
We'll see how the new pitcher, Chow, handles the Brookline order, as it'll be the top of that order, Bollinger, Brendel, and DiPaolo coming up for the Warriors here in the bottom of the 5th. Brookline's only got 3 innings left to try and come back into this one, and after getting 1 run on the board in the first off the RBI double from Felix Hom, they've been unable to get any runs across despite putting 2 runners on base in both the second and third innings, and then they went down in order in the fourth. Here we go to start the bottom of the 5th, leading off the second baseman, number 14, Hugh Bollinger. First pitch from Chow is in the zone, strike 1.
I went in on Bollinger. Got the bottom part of the zone. Just a straight fastball.
And Bollinger reaches low and fouls that one off for strike 2. And this is something Newton South's got to like to see. At the high school level, relievers sometimes come into games struggling with control of their pitches. But Chow so far throwing strikes ahead in the count 0-2. That fastball drops low for ball 1.
Chow's been primarily going to these low pitches against Bollinger here. That one just a bit low, but still a strong chase pitch.
That one breaks out of control, ball 2.
Well, a lot of these pitchers, Jesse, we've talked about low, or rather mostly high in a way, this time low in a way. It's that left side pulling it. Just a little bit, good discipline from Bollinger.
And another one drops low, 3-2. Bollinger's worked his way back to a full count. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And that's big for Chow, as he was very close to giving up a leadoff walk, which could have done some mental damage for him in terms of his control going forward. But he gets a big third strike there.
Well, there Chow, he was going mostly to the breaking balls and followed it up with a fastball on 3-2, able to get Bollinger behind it.
And a breaking ball drops in the zone for strike 1 to Elias Brendel.
Elias Brendel, the pitcher at the beginning of the game, went a little over 2 innings, giving up 5 earned runs.
Launches this one deep to left center. The outfielder's tracking it and has it for out number 2. Just a little too much under that one.
Just a bit, Elias Brendel, a chopping swing, sent it out to right center. As Chow's moving through the inning quickly.
After that fly out to left center, up comes the shortstop, number 22, Jimmy DiPaolo.
Left center, excuse me.
Yeah. hold up the hands. No, it can get confusing though, because for the fielders facing home plate, it is to their right, but for the batter, it's to their left, and they determine that direction based on the batter's point of view.
It seemed that behind the second baseman, it went a little bit behind him to his right, so that's
just an optical illusion because of the side view.
Definitely
is what the problem was. DiPaolo takes strike 1 there, 2-1 the count. DiPaolo responsible for one of the few hits that Brookline's had. He's had a single, a run scored, and a hit by pitch. So one of the stronger offensive performances for Brookline today. As he takes strike 2 there. 2-2 the count.
Chow's gone primarily to the fastball in these last 2 at-bats. In the first one against Bollinger, he went to the breaking ball at first, and then he revved up the fastball at the end to get a strikeout.
Fouls that one off, stays alive at 2-2.
It's really the offense between both of these sides is quieted down. Both teams scoring in the first inning. Newton South getting 4, Brookline getting 1.
That one drops in the dirt, and DiPaolo checks his swing, full count. And you're right, Sam, if you take out that first inning, this would be a much closer 2-0 game. Still in Newton South's favor, but much closer. That first inning was just rough for Brookline. DiPaolo chases the payoff pitch low for strike 3.
Chow got him low and inside on a breaking ball. He's been mixing up his pitches very well in the inning. DiPaolo strikes out.
Chow had some close counts there, 2 full count at bats, but ultimately wins both of those battles and gets 2 strikeouts as he puts the Brookline hitters down in order. At the end of 5, the score still Newton South 6, Brookline 1. And we got another note in the live chat from Ivnana saying, supporting Brookline and the sports commentators from Las Vegas. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate the support. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast. Tough game for Brookline so far, but Ben Cody returning to the mound. Certainly pretty sort of a bright spot here. Came in the top of the 3rd. With the bases loaded and 1 out, allowed just 1 run on a sac fly before getting out of the inning. Has allowed 1 earned run for himself since then, but through 2 2/3, 1 earned run is not too bad as he gets ready to pitch another inning here in the top of the 6th, as he'll be facing the 9-1-2 hitters for Newton South, Edmondson, Feldman, and Harild.
As Brookline really settled in pitching-wise, Ben Cody, 3 innings in his last game, his first game of this season.
As this one is lifted out to shallow right for a leadoff single for a new batter here, number 21, batting in place of Edmondson. 21 is Moore.
Ben Cody in his last appearance before this game, 3 innings, no earned runs, gave up 1 unearned run.
This pitch is going to be a strike, as I think Feldman was trying to lay down a bunt there and just missed.
Bunt missed on the curveball. The ball spurted away to the left of it.
And that one curves nicely into the zone. Ben Cody out in front this at bat with an 0-2 count to Feldman. Now this one jammed in the inside, but it goes through the middle infielders for another single. And we've actually got another substitute, as that's not Feldman. That is number 26, Corkery? I think it's Corkery. So we've got some subs checking in for Newton South, and they start off with back-to-back singles, and now Harild skies this one, going to stay in the infield, and it's caught by DiPaolo. With 2 runners on, that was that might have ended up just being an infield fly anyhow, depending on what the officials decided to call. But now 2 down, or no, 1 down, 2 on. As I'm not sure who's going to be, probably Whitaker, I imagine, as that's going to be strike 1.
Yep, Jesse, it looks like number 9 Whitaker for Newton South hitting right now.
We're hitting the later stages where subs start coming in. I start getting confused as Whitaker fouls that one off for strike 2.
On that last out for Newton South. Another jam shot, Jesse, that Ben Cody was able to induce on an inside pitch.
This one a grounder over to third, fielded by Tandone, tags third and decides not to throw to first. I'm surprised he didn't try for the double play there. I think he was too concerned with the runner at second. But if he had made that throw with the strong throws he's been making from third there, he could have potentially ended the inning on a double play. But opts for the more cautious approach there.
Well, you got to think, Jesse, with the success that Ben Cody has been having, Tondone's decision could have been just to not rattle Cody, to keep him in his element right now.
Might be so, but remember, at the plate right now is Rivers, who launched that double to deep left against Cody his last time up, now facing a 1-1 count with 2 runners on and 2 out. Slices that one over the backstop, strike 2.
Cody able to jam Rivers there, inducing a lot of weak foul balls at the beginning. A lot of the foul balls that Newton South was hitting against Brendel, they were harder shots flying, but that hasn't been the case with Cody.
That one gets away, and the wild pitch allows both runners to advance. And so that'll be ball 2.
It's a strong throw down to third base, but just not in time from Felix Hom.
2-2 the count. Rivers slices it, being tracked by Hoffman, and he's got it for out number 3. The weak contact continues to be the bread and butter for Ben Cody as he escapes the 6th inning unscathed. But Brookline still trails Newton South 6-1.
Ben Cody's really been able to shut down the Newton South Tigers with that exception of the 1 run. Newton South has not been able to get a lot of offense going against the Warriors, and similar to what Whitaker was doing against Brookline, when they had runners on, Cody has been able to get out of the innings.
We move to the bottom of the 6th. Chow going to stay on the mound after a strong performance in the bottom of the 5th. And so we'll see what Brookline is able to do. 4, 5, 6 hitters coming up. Hom, Hafner, and Hoffman. Oh my gosh, I just realized that Brookline has 4 straight batters with a last name starting with H in their order. Going from 4 through 7, we have Hom, Hafner, Hoffman, and Hoffman.
Wow.
If that doesn't sound like the silliest law firm name you've ever heard, I don't know what does.
Too.
It is.
It's a tongue twister law firm.
Exactly. Yes, you see here at Hom, Hafner, Hoffman, and Hoffman. It is a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it?
I think Hom and then Hafner. Something about going back to Hoffman after Hafner.
Yeah, it's the half and the Hoff. It really throws you because it's so close.
It's the ha, then the ha, and then the Hoff.
And then also the man to the ner, because like you go from ending with end to starting with end. It throws you off.
It's like this couldn't be perfectly designed better to confuse people. But we're figuring it out.
Here at Hom, Hafner, Hoffman, and Hoffman, we have the highest standards of honesty and high performance.
Sounds like a commercial that you'd see on 98.5.
Yeah, that you'd see on 98.5?
Or hear on 98.5. See on maybe NBC Sports Boston.
There we go. All right, leading off for Brookline, the catcher, number 8, Felix Hom. Hom had the big RBI double back in the 1st. Since then, the Brookline offense has struggled to get anything going as Hom takes a low ball 1 there.
That pitch just a bit low. Coming from Chow, he had a greatly efficient inning.
Well, he had a tight inning. He had to battle for his 2 strikeouts because they were both full counts. It was definitely efficient though in the sense that he put the 3 batters down in order, but he had to really that was a pretty hard fought 1-2-3 inning.
Still wasn't easy, but regardless, he was able to shut down the Brookline Warriors.
Absolutely. 2-0 the count to Hom. Hom skies this one, and it's going to stay playable. Catcher drops it, but it was in foul territory, even though it bounced off his glove into fair territory. They called it foul. They called the play dead, which is why Hom stopped running. And so it'll simply be strike 1.
That was an extremely close play to whether it was foul or fair. Really just a game of small margins. It's the umpire discussing with
it looks
one
like
of the coaches.
The umpires might confer over this. They called it dead, which is why Hom stopped running, which is why I think if they were to overturn this, then Hom wouldn't be out. They would have given him first base. And I can understand because I think I've heard rulings in other games that if it bounces off the fielder's glove and into play, but I think if it was going to land in foul territory, then I'm pretty sure it still counts as a foul ball, which is what happened there.
It depends on if the fielder himself is in foul territory. I'm pretty sure.
It's definitely one of those more complicated rules. But a 3-1 count to Hom here. And that's going to miss high for ball 4. And Hom with a leadoff walk.
Then Hafner.
Yes, the second entry of our quadruple H set for Brookline here in their batting order. The designated hitter, number 24, Lincoln Hafner.
He's the second founder of the law firm, Jesse.
But now we've got. I can't get away from the joke. I guess we've got the paralegal coming in to courtesy run at first base with Connor Fitzgerald. I'm killing the joke. It's gone too far. I'm giving myself the giggles. We don't want to do that. Hafner at the plate. Fitzgerald courtesy running at first. First pitch, and Hafner golfs it foul.
After a bit behind on that one, but Hafner still getting hard contact on the ball, but behind.
Hafner so far 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. It's like you said, big swings, but hasn't been able to get the contact to put it in play. That one curves in for a strike, throw down to first, and Fitzgerald dives back safe. He was taking a very aggressive leadoff from first, but ultimately able to dive back.
And that's what Brookline needs right now, down by 5. Only 2 more innings to go for them. Need to apply pressure on the pitchers of Newton South.
That one skips in the dirt, but well blocked by Harild to prevent the wild pitch, 1-2.
Harild did a good job this game preventing those balls from getting away for Newton South. Part of the reason why Brookline only has 1 run. They haven't been able to get that much traffic on the base paths.
Hafner reaches out, hits a dribbler over to third, fielded, throw to first, and Hafner beats it. Hafner speeding his way up the bags, and I think the third baseman might have taken a half second to clutch that ball before throwing it, and Hafner takes advantage with an infield single.
Well, a bang-bang play. Hafner just beating the throw in the catch. Now the infield coming in at first.
First and third, they're looking out for that sac bunt potentially. But not showing bunt here, as that's going to be a low ball 1 to the first baseman, number 18, Eli Hoffman. Fouls that one to the backstop, strike 1.
Hoffman behind that one, and Chow was taking a look at second base. Watching out for the steal of the courtesy runner Connor Fitzgerald.
Hoffman 0 for 2 so far today, a line out to short and a strikeout. As he takes a high ball 2. This is Hoffman's second straight at bat with 2 runners on. Last time struck out to end the third, leaving 2 runners stranded. He's hoping he can do something to move them along here. That one in the dirt, blocked again by Harild, but a 3-1 count now to Hoffman.
Pitch down low there, coming from Chow, and Brookline have been able to get some base runners here in this inning, but they haven't had a hit in a while.
Well, Hafner, that infield single.
Excuse me.
And Hoffman lifts one to left, but it looks like it's going to be tracked, and it is tracked. And the runner is not able to tag on a hit to that side of the field. So that'll simply be out number 1.
Well, although Brookline had that hit coming from Hafner, they haven't had a hit with runners in scoring position, rather.
That's true.
In the last couple innings.
They haven't had any hits with runners in scoring positions. The 1 RBI hit they had came with a runner on first. It just so happened to be a hit and run. So it's sort of like a runner quasi in scoring position because of the hit and run play. Now batting the center fielder, number 15, Owen Hoffman. Big swing and a miss, strike 1.
Hoffman behind that one, and Chow dialing up the velocity on the first pitch.
Hoffman 0 for 2 so far, a strikeout and a ground out to the pitcher. Trying to do some damage here with runners at first and second and 1 out. That one low, blocked again by Harild, ball 1. And again, you were talking about it, Sam, the impact of good catching. There's been a couple of pitches in the dirt this inning that if Harild had let them get by, Brookline could actually have had a run already. And reaches out and fouls that one off, strike 2.
Fouled off, and again, Owen Hoffman, the final H name out of the 4, just behind on these 2 fastballs, causing the 1-2 count.
And another fastball low for ball 2. Chow's using a lot of fastballs consecutively against Hoffman. You think he might try and work in an off speed or a breaking ball one of these next couple pitches?
Possibly. Almost like an opposite to what Ben Cody was doing, going with primarily breaking balls and then the fastball, and here is a breaking ball.
And Hoffman chops it, and it's going to go foul on the third base side, so Hoffman stays alive, not able to get a ball in play, but able to stay alive at least.
Owen Hoffman, they're a bit early, but still Jesse able to hit it in play there. It's Chow, maybe he goes back to the fastball here after the breaking ball.
Runner taking off for third as Hoffman lifts one out to center. This might backfire. It's caught at center field, and the hit and run backfires horribly as Brookline hits into a double play.
It's a nightmare play for the Warriors. It has not been their day today. And now the start of the 7th inning. An unfortunate play for Brookline. It's a double play and a well-hit ball by Owen Hoffman. It almost looked like it was going to drop in for a base hit to score a run, if possibly more.
Yeah, if that had been a little bit more to the right or the left instead of straightaway center, that could have dropped in the gap. You know, but it just hung in the air too long for something that was going to straightaway center. Like you said, it's just been unfortunate for Brookline. They've had a lot of stuff just not bounce their way, and that rough start in the first inning defensively has just proven a bit too much for them to overcome through the first 6. At the end of 6, Newton South's 6, Brookline 1. I'd like to take a moment between the 6th and 7th innings to once again thank our sponsor, Esch Dental. Esch Dental in Coolidge Corner doesn't just focus on smile rehabilitation, their real passion is smile preservation. If you are ready for a local, sophisticated, sole ownership dental office to take care of your 6-month cleanings, no need to look any further than Esch Dental. You can easily book online at eschdental.com or call the office at 617-566-0103. Once again, that's EASHDENTAL.com or call 617-566-0103. And all that information is in the description section down below, as well as a link where you can donate to the Team Booster Club at Bat for Brookline, and a link and phone number for our local charity spotlight, the Brookline Education Foundation. We move now to the 7th and final inning of this game. Here in the top half, Newton South going to be trying to see if they can add a little bit more to their lead. Ben Cody back on the mound. He's really been one of the big bright spots for Brookline today. I would say the throwouts on the base paths, the big RBI double from Felix Hom, and this solid relief pitching effort from Ben Cody have really been the highlights for Brookline thus far, heading into the 7th and final inning. But still, one more inning left to play. And that's one of the things I like about baseball, as the first pitch is in there for a strike to O'Toole for strike 1. But one of the things I've been saying the past few days, because I've covered baseball, volleyball, and now baseball again the past 3 days, all sports with no clock. And so what that means is there's never a situation where your team is physically incapable of making a comeback until that last out or that last point that ends the game. You know, there's no point where it's like, oh, we're up by so much we can just run the clock out. That doesn't happen, as that's in there for strike 2. I mean, yes, baseball has the mercy rule, 10 and 5, but even then, that's still, the game ending. O'Toole jammed on this one and lines it right to Bollinger for out number 1.
On 2, they're getting jammed, and that's been a theme with Ben Cody, as he just flew it out to the second baseman Bollinger for the grab. Ben Cody, Jesse, he's my big highlight of today's game. He's come in only giving up 1 earned run.
A deep shot to right, but a can of corn for Brendel, and a 1-pitch out to Everett. As Ben Cody has, like you said, he's been working so well today. And a lot of it is because of his location of his pitches. He's had great control over his stuff so far today.
He's just been amazingly efficient.
Schwager fouls this one off for strike 1.
So again, that pitch down and away. Cody able to induce a weak foul ball.
Hard liner here, but right at Tandone. The one clean hit they get on the barrel, and it's right at a fielder. 1, 2, 3, and Ben Cody, a pretty strong performance out of the bullpen, I would say. 4 2/3 innings of relief, 1 earned run allowed through those 4 2/3. That's a strong performance in my book. But of course, Brookline, what they want really is some offense to see if they can get back in this one, as they've got 1 chance left, and they're going to be relying on the bottom of their order to try and get things going. And it looks like we're going to have some pinch hitters this inning. I saw him warming up in the on-deck circle before Hoffman flew out into the double play there. I think we're going to have Jonathan Mazzara batting in place of Rasik Waikar, and we'll see if they bring in another pinch hitter in place of Cody here in the last inning, maybe try and get a stronger bat in the box, as Cody known more for his pitching strength rather than his bat.
Well, Jesse, before this game, we discussed how Brookline, their offense has been consistent. It was going to be the pitching that decided the game. But this game, the Warriors, they just haven't had the luck that we've talked about. A lot of their hits have been right at fielders, plays that could have easily had runs. The catcher for Newton South has done a great job blocking the balls and really things that are just out of the Warriors' control.
And also give credit to the pitchers, Whitaker and Chow, because, I mean, for the most part, they've stayed in control. The few moments where the control got away from them, they always rebounded right back. And, you know, that control really proved to be the difference because, again, that first inning that allowed Newton South to jump out to a 4-0 lead, it gave the Whitaker the confidence right from the start to attack the Brookline hitters without fear. And that aggressiveness and control has been the defining aspect of the Newton South pitching performance today. But one inning still left to decide things. Leading off for Brookline, batting in place of Rasik Waikar is number 23, Jonathan Mazzara. Mazzara swing and a miss at the first pitch, but before this game he was tied for the team lead in hits with Jimmy DePaula with 3 hits. As through the first 2 games, he went 3 for 6 with 2 walks, 2 runs scored, and an RBI. DePaulo had a hit earlier today to take the team lead in hits, but Mazzara now with a chance to potentially tie him if he gets good contact here, as he takes low ball 1.
Mazzara, 625 on-base percentage, in 2 runs plus an RBI. He's had a great start to the year. And this is the kind of player that Brookline needs to create a spark. As you said, baseball with no clock. The game is never over other than the mercy rule.
Takes strike 2 there, and I love how quickly you just calculated his on-base percentage in your head there. Just quickly, 5 out of 8. You can tell he's still in school.
You learn it enough times doing 5/8 on the calculator.
And unfortunately, that's going to go down to 5 out of 9 as Mazzara down on strikes for the first out of this inning. And I mean, I remember that one. That's a pretty easy calculation. That's just 555.
It's about 554, 5.
No, it's 5 recurring.
Oh, 5 recurring.
Yeah. All of the ones over 9 are the number recurring. 1 out of 9 is 0.1 recurring, 2 out of 9 is 0.2 recurring, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, that's good to remember. I always thought it was 545. I was about to say that, but then.
And it's Devin Chin back at the plate in place of Cody. Cody hit in his place after Brendel took over in right field, but Chin back at the plate here with Brookline trying to get some offense going in the bottom of the 7th. 1-1 the count.
Well, you learn something new every day, Jesse.
Shows bunt, but pulls back to take ball 2. Devin Chin is a speedster. His 1 base hit so far this spring was on an infield hit against Natick on Wednesday. So you got to watch out for him to potentially bunt. The third baseman up on the grass now as he shows bunt and pulls back. This time it's in there for strike 2, which should eliminate the bunting option, as, again, a foul bunt means a strikeout.
And that pitch on the outside part of the plate, Chow's had a lot of success in the lower part of the zone. That time he got it to the outside.
Hits a grounder, foul.
What's important for Devin Chin, a player like that with such speed, is just to hit a ball in play, making sure to make contact, because in the end he could always beat out a throw or two.
Well, you can almost see him trying to place that one up the left side of the infield to give him a better chance at legging it out. Swing and a miss, but it's dropped. Chin taking off for first. Throw to first is in time. And again, Harild doing all the little things right behind the plate as he completes the second out.
Mayfield-Sheehan almost beat that one out. A couple steps later with a throw, he would have been safe, and now Brookline down to their final out.
At the plate is the second baseman, number 14, Hugh Bollinger. And did he go around on that one? Yes, he did. Couldn't check his swing. Hugh Bollinger, a very aggressive approach at the plate, as he's one of those guys who tends to swing at a little bit of everything. That one in the zone, and Brookline now down to their final strike.
Here with an 0-2, Chow's been shutting down the Warriors ever since he came in. Combination of him and Whitaker.
As Bollinger hits a bouncer up the third base line, it rolls foul.
That one nearly went fair. Third baseman almost touched it before it went foul.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. It's when a fielder touches it that determines whether it's foul or not.
That one would have been a lucky break for the Warriors if he would have.
Swing and a miss, dropped again, but Harild applies the tag, and that is your ball game. The final score here at Warren Field, the Newton South Lions 6, the Brookline High Warriors 1. Whitaker getting the win on the mound, and Chow earning the save with three shutout innings of relief. While for Brookline, Brendel ends up with a loss. The Warriors fall to 1-2, while Newton South improves to 2-0. Strong defensive performance for Newton South, allowing just one run in each of their first two games.
Most definitely, Jesse. And both of their pitchers today performing well. Whitaker and Chow. Whitaker only giving up one run in the first inning. After that, he was able to shut down the Warriors. And even when Brookline had runners on base, Whitaker was able to finish the job. Chow seemed really untouchable in his 3 innings of work for the Lions. And Brookline, their pitching performances, Ben Cody had a great game in relief. He was able to finish the game for the Warriors, only giving up 1 earned run. However, Elias Brendel giving up 5 earned runs in a little over 2 innings. He struggled. He'll get the loss today. Brendel mostly playing as a closer last year, his starting debut and his pitching debut of this season. But a tough loss for the Warriors. They go down to 1-2 against a good Newton South team, but they will need to rebound in their next matchup.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for this one. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan alongside Sam Lowenstein. Sam, thank you so much for joining me here today. And thank you all so much, folks, for tuning in to this broadcast. Remember, if you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all my upcoming live streams. Thank you to all those who brought the good vibes in the live chat today. Anything you'd like to say after the game, be sure to say it in the comment section down below. You can also go down below to the description section of this video where you can see some helpful links. First, link and phone number for our local sponsor, Esh Dental. One last thank you to Esh Dental for sponsoring us here today. The team at Esh Dental understands dental anxiety. Some patients just need a friendly face to put them at ease, while others need the help of additional gases or medication to put them at ease. Dr. Esh and his team can help you wherever you are on the journey to find a solution to manage your anxiety. Call or book online at eshdental.com. You can call the number 617-566-0103. Remember, 617-566-0103 or eashdental.com. And you can see that link and phone number in the description section down below. Also the link to donate to the At Bat for Brookline Booster Club, and also the link and phone number for our local charity spotlight, the Brookline Education Foundation. And also, further down the description section, some links related to me that you can also see in the bottom right corner of your screen. My personal website, jessesports.com, where you can find out more about me, the freelance sports broadcasting services that I provide to various teams, and how you can commission those services for your favorite teams. Or you can skip past all that and just email me directly with any questions, requests, or comments you may have. And don't forget to follow me on social media on Instagram and Facebook, where I post highlights from previous live streams. But for this live stream, that's going to do it. Newton South 6, Brookline 1. From Warren Field, alongside Sam Lowenstein, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night. All right, we're